Old woman in a dream. An old woman represents the ending of one's life in this world, sorrows, the hereafter, wine, or bearing children after having lost hope in one's fertility. An old woman in a dream also could represent deceit, cunningness, duplicity, backbiting, or slander. Seeing an old and sick woman in a dream may mean impotence, weakness, or disability. Seeing a thirsty old woman in a dream means drought. If she turns a young girl in the dream, then she represents rain. If an unknown old woman visits a sick person in a dream, it means his death. Otherwise, if an unknown old woman visits a pregnant woman in a dream, it means Givinger the glad tidings of a son. iPhone is engaged in an important project and sees himself sleeping with an old woman in a dream. It means that his project will not succeed. An old woman in a dream also represents non-arable land. iPhone sees her wearing a veil in the dream. It means that he will meet with hardships and regret. iPhone sees an ugly old woman, or a hajj in a dream. It means adversities and war. If a young woman sees herself as an old woman in a dream, it means earning respect and dignity. An unknown old woman in a dream also represents a bad crop for that year. If one sees an old woman descending from the skies and people are wondering about her, she represents the passing year. Seeing an ugly old woman in a dream also could mean glad tidings of an ending war, or the end of drought. An emaciated old woman in a dream represents a year of drought. If she gains weight and turns beautiful in the dream, she represents changes in the weather conditions, bringing a prosperous and a happy end for the farmers in that year. An ostentatious old woman in a dream represents a prosperous life, or good news that will arrive shortly. If she looks frowning or unhappy in the dream, then she represents distress and loss of prestige. If she looks ugly in the dream, she represents facing adverse conditions. If she is naked in the dream, she represents a scandal. If an old woman enters a house in a dream, it means prosperity and business success, and if she leaves a house in the dream, it means the opposite. An unknown old woman in a dream has a stronger connotation than a known old woman. If one sees himself frequenting an old woman in a dream, his dream denotes his attachment to worldly gains. If an old woman who passed her menopause sees herself in a dream experiencing her menstrual period again and regaining her sexual drive, and if she sees herself engaged in sexual intercourse in the dream, it means that she will become religious and have strong material and spiritual success in her life. For sexual intercourse in the dream is marital intercourse and of a lawful nature. Otherwise, if it is unlawful, then it represents her attachment to worldly gains and neglects for her spiritual values. If a young woman sees herself being an old woman in a dream, it means that she will prosper and have a successful marital life.